If it's three-dimensional, I do it. That's why I need all this space, because when you work in three-dimensional, everything is three-dimensional. So not only making the piece itself, but then I also have to make the molds and either a resin casting of it or whatever they want the material in. I've done everything from very realistic, like Steve Irwin and the animals that I used to work for, that I freelance for a toy company now, to very strange things, like I did a couple of the minions for a float that I worked on. I did a realistic red-tailed hawk, and when I put it in the mold, it worked out beautiful. I got a nice casting, but when I took it out of the mold, it all fell apart. And the only thing I had left was the head of the hawk. So I'm figuring out, what can I do with this head of a hawk? I got wood all over the place. I got black walnut, and I had this beautiful piece of cherry. And I thought, cherry, redwood, red-tailed hawk. So I put the two together. I made the body in very abstract, more of an abstract shape to bring out the texture and the coloring of the wood itself. Instead of trying to go back in and carving, I figured, just, God did a better job than I did on this wood. So then I started taking other things that I had done and sculpting other things, like the owl. It's a great horned owl with a black walnut body, which is kind of brownish, and everything's like it's got feathers on it with the texturing. I've had things that have taken me a couple hours to do, and things that have taken me a month to do. Things like the animals, I would say average on those probably around a week to 2 weeks, depending how much detail. Some of them, like you do a whale, then you just sand it down and you got the smooth surface. You're doing an animal with fur on it, you're there ticking away little lines of fur, because you want to do it highly realistically, because they're being sold in museums and zoo gift stores. The fairy garden stuff. Well, my wife, about 9-10 years ago, we were down in Amish country. My wife saw this little container and had these little things in there and some fairies in that. She thought it was really cute. So she says, "You can do these," which I did. So I took some ideas that she had and we started making them and putting them online. People liked them. So we met at art school, so she's an artist also. So she knows what she wants, and then she paints them. She does all the online work, putting them on Etsy and that. Probably the Steve Irwin piece was, I guess that was probably the nicest piece to see finished, because his wife and kids came here, and she was the one that did all the business. He put the okay on it just before he died. So we want to go ahead with it. So just seeing that in the box with his voice on it, that was nice. And then it goes to the large pieces, like the elephants up there. And those are made out of 2-inch thick insulation foam, the sheets that you get in Home Depot. Glue them all up into the size that you need, lay it down there, cut it all out, and then just start going in with saws and everything else. It's very fulfilling for me, because when I was going to art school, I was intending on being a pen and ink artist, illustrator for books. And I started working we had a project in 3-dimension, and I found that I had more of an aptitude for seeing things in dimensional than I could seeing them in flat graphic-wise. I always had a difficult time seeing in a flat. But even looking at a painting in a museum, I think of, how could this be sculpted? So I'm always thinking dimensional. That probably drives some people crazy, because I'll be sitting in a corner or something, I'll be looking at people and looking at their face, and I'll be taking my little tool and trying to copy their face in my mind. So.